A few days ago, I found this dead grasshopper at the bottom of my elevator, and I've been considering ways to shoot him. They're quite animate when they're alive, with lots of moving parts, and when they die they do shrivel up a little bit. So I'm trying to find the best possible angle. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through my process of deciding the best way to shoot him. I thought for this that I would like to have a black background. Now obviously this can be achieved with a flash, and we can also try and help this along its way with a old bag we have here. It's a black bag, one of those free like tote bag things. So we're going to cut this apart. It already had a big hole in it, so it's not going to waste. I think maybe just face it down like that's probably fine. You have to be very delicate when they've been dead for a few days, because they're going to be very fragile. And we'll start just like this. We'll start taking photos here. And again, I'm going to rely on a flash for this. And to make the most of this, I'm going to cut out all of the ambient light with my camera settings first. And I think we'll probably use the extenders for this because I want to magnify this grasshopper and get as much detail as possible. So I'm just going to grab my extenders and we'll put this on. We'll take a few photos. Wow, ooh, that's quite a cool angle already. Real face on them. Let's turn the ISO down to 100. We'll probably do our standard 100th of a second, F8, F11, let's do F11, ISO 100, and take a photo. And I can't see a thing, which is perfect. We want to cut out all of that light. Next, I'm going to grab my remote flash. There's a few different options we can use here for flash, but this one's on the table, so I'll do the wireless flash for this. And it's quite a versatile tool when you get the hang of how it works. So I think the exposure settings are cutting out a bit too much light, and because we're shooting onto a black background, there's really not that much light to begin with. It absorbs all of the reflections. So I'm going to experiment with my exposure a little bit. I'm going to turn the flash off for now, and let's see if I can find, perhaps I will go and increase the ISO to 800. So F8, about 100th of a second again, but the ISO at 800, that's 8 times the exposure we were doing before. Then with the flash that we have here, now this is a very low power flash setting at the moment. With this flash, we should be able to start to introduce light back in. That looks really cool. We're getting lots of detail here. Now my concern is that we're actually getting too much of the black underneath. So I'm going to try something a little bit risky here. Now, this bug has long since been dead, and if I'm very careful, I can prop him up using a clip. And it doesn't matter if we lose the bottom part of him, just so long as we can keep him up. Because it'd be really cool if I can have him face me and I can put one of these textures in the background. Look at that, I've just clipped onto the bottom of his tail or his stinger, I don't know what it is. I'm able to turn him upright. And although he's not perfectly upright, I don't really want to push my luck, so I'm going to bend the actual metal rather than try to reposition him. That's him in place. Next, what I want to do is I'm going to take one more of these clips and I'm going to choose a background color that I think is going to complement this well. So he's green, maybe purple will work well, maybe orange. We'll start with those two. I think we'll start with the purple. I quite like purple and green as a combo. We'll put him behind. And let me see if I can get nice and close. Wow. Okay, now we're really onto something. So this looks great. What I want is to have a little bit of reliability with my composition. So I'm going to introduce my tripod into the scene so that I have everything under control. The thing about shooting in macro is that minor changes can make a big difference. So if you move your flash a foot further away, that is a big difference in terms of the amount of light power that's going to reach your subject. When you move your subject slightly in relation to the flash, that's going to change the angle of light. There's so many variables involved in macro photography that I try to keep as many of them constant as possible. So the background is in place, the subject is in place, the tripod is going to be in place, the camera, the composition, everything's going to be set. And then I can start to experiment with different exposure settings. I can try and move the background further away or closer. I can change the different backgrounds. I can change the distance and the angle of the light. But I'm going to try and keep as many constants as possible first. So let's get that set up first with the tripod. We'll start with a landscape shot, but I'm pretty sure I might end up going portrait in this to get a better shot. So let's start here. Let's adjust the height of this. Actually, maybe we'll bring it further down again. Now, because he is in fact dead, there are some features of him that aren't quite intact anymore. He was lying on the ground for probably at least a day by the time I found him. So this antenna that comes out here isn't straight. So I'm not going to try and include that. I want to just get a close-up of his face and maybe some of this crossover of these legs here. Let's bring him a little bit closer. And as if you're taking a photo of a person, you want to focus on the eyes. That's where your eyes are naturally going to be drawn. If it's the first thing you see, it really ought to be in sharp focus. It's really hard to make minute adjustments when it comes to macro photography. I'm going to zoom in on his eyes here. Ooh, okay, perfect. Perfect focus on that left eye. How about the right? Right looks pretty good too. Okay, I'm happy with that composition now. I'm going to switch my exposure settings back, so f8, 100th of a second. I'll plug in the intervalometer, hopefully not changing the composition. And let's see what we can get with this flash. Wow, really cool photo. Slight change in the composition there when I put the intervalometer in, so I'm just going to fix that. Even just adjusting these settings is moving the composition enough. I took one photo with the flash at the side there, and I have to say I much prefer the light there. The reason being is you don't get that big flash mark down the front of the face. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my light out. So I'm using the remote off-camera flash, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that macro flash with the two lights at the side and see if I can get a better result with that. I'm going to swing it back around, being careful not to knock him at all. And let's bend these lights all the way in. Now it's a hard flash, there's no diffusion on this, so that might be an issue, but we'll just see what we can get. Immediately I can see that that flash is too powerful, so we'll bring this flash power down to, let's do -3. Even with that flash power all the way down, it doesn't seem to be doing such a good job. So let me see if I can sandwich the subject like so. Does seem a little bit too powerful. Oof. Now we've blown out the background. Okay, so I think that this flash unit is probably not going to be the right one for this scene, purely because I don't have any diffusion on here. If I had a diffuser, it would be a very different story. But while filming this course, I want to show you what it's like to shoot with a variety of different lighting setups, this being one of them. So I'll tell you what, we're going to switch back now to the other flash. And this time, I'm going to increase the power on this flash. Let's do 2 stops more power. But I'm going to bring the flash further away. So we'll go from up here rather than from here. So if I take a photo here, no surprise, it's really overexposed. If I go from up here, it's certainly less so. One thing I will experiment with is, instead of keeping the flash power at 1/128th, I'm going to change that by 2 stops to 1/32nd. And instead of putting it here, which is going to overexpose, I'll lift it up a little bit higher. You can see that looks a little bit better. We do actually have a big octagon softbox, but it's kind of out of the realms of the possibilities for most photographers. I don't want to start getting into some big professional lighting setups. I want to keep it as at home and cheap, $100 as possible. So we're going to see what we can do to experiment with the light here. Before we do that, there's a couple things I want to change. First of all, I think it's definitely going to be a better photo if we go portrait rather than landscape. And I want to experiment with an orange background as well. So let's try that first. Let's do the composition. That's a really cool composition. We have a purple background here. Let's see what it looks like if we change it to orange. That complements the green pretty nicely too. That certainly adds some warmth to the image. I'm not sure if I prefer it though. Let's see what else we have. It's a nice turquoise. There's sort of an orange and blue. Maybe that would work well. Or a dark orange. This is like a rust color. Oh yeah, it's almost like a red glow. That's cool. And let's try the blue and orange one. That's cool, but it's a bit more blue. I think we're gonna go for the rust color. This one here. I'm going to switch back. I was in high-speed continuous for another video. We're going to go back to single shooting silent. I'm going to take a series of photos now with the light source at different angles until I find one that I really like. When I found one, we're going to then work from there to improve it. Maybe we try a different light source or different power or different distance, but I'm going to try the angle first, find an angle I like and then move on from there. I'm going to turn the power down just a little bit. Through doing a little bit of experimentation, I think my favorite angle with a one flash setup is going to be from the side. The reason for this is it illuminates the background a little bit, which adds a bit more texture and color, some dynamism to the background, while still illuminating the subject. It's a little bit dark on one side, but I think with a bit more experimentation, we should be able to get a really great shot. From the side and up looks good. Oh, that's a good one. This might be the sort of situation where if you were shooting with just one flash, you might want to try and make this work with ambient light, perhaps with window light. You can go to the side of a window. Imagine this is a really large window and use the light from the side to get a great photo and light. But because I'm experimenting with just one flash, I'm going to go ahead and take a few more photos and then decide on which one's going to be my favorite. I think that might actually be it. One thing I do know that as I take these photos, where there are some dark shadow parts, I can actually pull some of those details out later in Lightroom and get a really nice balanced image, despite the fact that the flash is mostly coming from one side. And that's it. That's how to take photos of dead bugs. I've got some butterflies I take photos of. You can buy bugs online. You can get them in these little plastic casings as well. Butterflies, tarantulas. And then if you keep your eyes open, you'll find dead bugs like this grasshopper just about everywhere. Thanks for following me in this process of experimenting with different compositions, different lights, different colors, and different lighting setups. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please, I encourage you to go take the same types of photos, and I look forward to seeing them in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching.